All right, everybody. Woo! Oh, we're not done yet. We're not done yet, right? We got some work to do before we get to the fun stuff. And but I expect that the work that we still yet have to do, there is a session going on right now. Is can be a little bit fun, and it can go very fast, but it goes faster to the degree that you are willing to contribute to the conversation. This is an audience participation discussion. All right. All right. All right. I'm gonna sort of like unbury the lead. I want you to think about these questions, but we're gonna come back to them in a few minutes. You know, what does legal education need today? What can and should law schools do together with tech that they can't do individually? What do you want to do with your career, with your life at a law school? Think about that. And what are we, that is to say, legal education, the faculty, the lawyers, the justice system, what are we missing? What are the holes that, you know, that need to be filled there? All right. So let me start with some stuff about Cali. This is when I talk about Cali, I end up talking about these 5 things: the lessons, the books, the access to justice projects, the awards, or the conference. And then I always point out that there's only 11 of us doing it. It's a small crowd that I believe batting way above our weight for that. And before I get any further, I have to try not to sob as I basically say, Deb is being slowly erased. Oh, she's almost gone. Oh. So Cali has a Deb, will soon have a Deb-sized hole in it. And if any of you know anybody who is interested in filling that hole, please have them get in contact with me. Yeah, not yet. And so that's why you all have drumsticks. I don't know if you know it, but Deb was a drum major.
I was a very typical pre-law major of percussion performance. You know.
And I think and as I was and we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago. She said I was like, you know, we want to do something for the crowd, and she's like, well, how about we give something away to them from me or something? And I'm like, man, I have to think about this. And then I came up with the idea.
Table. Okay, that's all. Retirement is expensive. I want to sell T-shirts, pens, things I couldn't steal from other vendors.
So I remembered that we did a drum circle and that Deb was a drum major, but more metaphorical, with Deb's amazing catalog of work with the lessons and with the books and with the years of working with Cali, we have marched to her drum in many ways. That hurt to say. And so now we're going to be saying goodbye to Deb. And for that, I wanted to give everybody sort of a memory of Deb with these sticks. All right. Thank you, Deb.
You'll be okay. Thank you, everyone.
You know, did you want to, did you say you wanted to say a few words?
Can I just have a couple minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so in 1960, if I could have all my wonderful Cali colleagues come up, I have something for you. Because what is amazing is the work that we do as a group. And I want to thank everyone in the room for helping at some point. I know I've asked you some bizarre questions that you went home and said to your family, you're not going to guess what Deb asked me today. So really odd things like that.
You have to line up like the picture.
Yeah. Wait, that's right. Right.
I know what you do.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah. Sarah got sliced. All right, we'll back it up. Deb's still here.
I want to stop all my old badges. You know, that was knocked down. But we do very important work. And I just did some back of the envelope math, and all of us can take great pride in this, because if we here at Cali help like one student a year at a school, which is way, way below where we're batting. And those students go out and graduate, and they help 10 clients a year for a 30-year career. We're helping like 16 million people indirectly in society. And I don't think there are a lot of people in today's world who can say, I indirectly helped 16 million people over my career. So, I have been, oh, I'm back. I have been banished. You have all enjoyed taking out your frustration on me and by eating cupcakes, which was very sweet. What I really, after the pandemic, what I realized to make the job work is not only my colleagues, because as I have always said to John, the tech side would have nothing to put on their pretty website, but for content. and we would have nowhere to put our cool stuff, but for the tech team. So we are in a mutually symbiotic relationship. And all I've said for the past few years is if you are kind and you stay hydrated, you can make a big difference in the world. So I went out to one of my favorite companies. They take cymbals, very coincidental. They take actual drum cymbals. They recycle them. And so I made each of you a keychain because you have the key to my heart. I'll mail Sam. If anyone's looking out for Sam's back, I'll mail it to. So I just want to say thank you and carry on to the next 16 million. Huzzah!
Huzzah! All right, we get the disappear Deb again. There we go.
That hurts a little every time you do that.
And I accidentally mutilated Sarah there. I'm sorry. All right, let's get some work done. So Cali, 198 members, 1,300 plus podcast lessons, books. Here's our mission statement. I am not going to read this out loud, but you can basically see what we're about. But what have we done lately? We've passed that 1,300 lesson podcast crossword puzzle count. We passed 200,000 downloads of our free books, which even if you underestimate that, that's hundreds of millions of dollars of money saved for students. We passed 8 million people helped with A to J author, which even if you conservatively estimate that at $100 an hour for a lawyer or $50 for an hour, it's $800 million. And we did not receive $800 million in our funding for that project. We passed 130 law schools. We're at almost 380,000 awards in the award system. And next year is the 30th year of that project. And all while keeping our dues under, on average, across all schools, $15 a student. That's a hell of an accomplishment. The hell of an accomplishment. But now the board is getting together this afternoon and for dinner and for a day-long session of talking about the future. And I want to engage all of you in that, but I want to make sure that you expand your thinking beyond just more content or more stuff or things like that, right? For lessons, you got to be thinking about the fact that there's 1,300 lessons there and 25,000 multiple choice questions. But you can use that software. You can use that software, your faculty, to build your own law school or to build your own MLS program, training materials, teaching materials that could be published on our website. You could create distance learning courses or CLE or public training. Think about that. For the books, we've got, like I mentioned, the downloads, but we have an authoring system at lawbooks.cali.org written in Pressbooks, WordPress. And you could build your own course materials, your reading materials there, or CLE packets. with A to J author, we've helped all these people in all these places. You can build your own automated forms if that's something that your clinic is interested in. It's essentially an expert system builder. And I called it a nascent BPI, business process improvement, because we're working to get the courts to think, if you start automating forms, it's not about the forms, it's about the data in the forms that would flow into a system which they don't yet fully understand. How management of that data is how they can make a better justice system. And we're happy to do presentations and we've got projects, even training materials that you can just hand to your students today, right now, with A to J author. Even the awards, and this is nothing built right now, think about awards as something that's like, a build your own. Maybe we should be expanding that into something where you're handling your own local awards thing, micro-credentials. Awards are a motivator for students and gathering success stories from them about how did they get the highest grade in the class. These are all ideas we're noodling around with. This is beyond the content that I would call meta-Cali. We've spent lots of effort to build software and capabilities in an ecology that is available to you as members. And we're interested in working with you to figure out how to make it more valuable, more useful, and such as that. So our board's going to meet for a strategic planning today and tomorrow. These are the critical issues from some internal surveys we did that we identified. Funding's right there at the top. Retirement is number 2. What about AI? How valuable can we continue to be? Can we continue to be valuable to membership? What about competition? People coming in doing things similar to us? These are all issues up on the table for discussion. So stop talking, John. Start dialoguing. What can law schools do together? They assume with tech, because it's in our name, that they can't do individually. Does anybody want to throw out thoughts or ideas or comments on that? Yeah. Mary, go ahead.
One of the things is courses that you can't get enough enrollment for individually without collectively across the country, multiple schools, multiple enrollment, in niche class.
So like what? What type of this class?
Temporary model system.
Perfect.
But just where you can't have sustained enrollment, that's the year.
Go ahead.
I'm hesitant to say develop an alternative bar exam, but maybe other gateways to the profession.
There's no bad idea when you're brainstorming. That's bad. No. I always thought it would be interesting if we did an experiment where we plucked questions out of that 25,000 question database and arranged for or made available to schools for their 1L to run through 100 questions in April or May, before finals, as a sort of formative assessment baby bar. So key points are formative assessment being close things, right? You're not gonna take your life if you don't do well. And the data that we would get back on that, attended some of the sessions here where we talked about lesson lives. We could throw back into schools and say, this is how well your students did in their first year. Here's the question, here's the student response. I kind of believe that would be less the LSSD, those guys who get through a wonderful survey. It would be less the level valuable information.
And also,
if you could do it right.
It also helps with the assessment standards.
Right, the formative assessment standard of the EAPA. I'm scared even suggesting this idea, because I know the logistics and worrying about the cheating, or problems of administering such a thing. But I don't know, I think that would be a fascinating question.
Or wide-ranging discussions about pedagogy, particularly as it applies to law schools. One's working for this kind of student, one's working for that kind of student, and this subject, that subject across law schools. Students on the tech one person, but that seems to be a discussion that needs to happen.
Especially neurodivergent students, especially first gen students, especially for.
Especially.
Yeah.
Especially students, from, that feel out of place for any reason. Or feel in place and maybe you're comfortable. So.
Yeah, I feel like a few years back, having trying to get engaged with those conversations in the car, it's still hard, but it's
Right.
but to absorb it somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe the pandemic helped.
I mean, we see examples of people having, they're trying different things in their classroom, but it's still really individual. And, most of us went to law school, we did this like 35 years ago and walked into the classroom and there are only difference. Other than now the power. And why are we stuck? Why law? Why does this happen in law and not in other fields?
Healthy?
I think we should have some way, how we did it again, where this serves something where professors themselves and talk about issues and then like summer meeting or just something certification. Yeah, there's something in different areas so that
Community building, micro community building is so useful and valuable, and so hard. Because well scattered across so many different discussions. I love listening to Carlson presentation just for this. They proactively are creating a community for their incoming one out. There you are, using Zoom. So that they're not coming in all sort of scattered like that. I'm curious to know how well that's going to be working for the students. You just started on that, or just only did that 2 years, and it's working well. Second thing, Althea, you don't mind me, Althea's a company.
coordinator.
That's right. And Calvin's been slowly and inexpertly reaching out fairly well then, because we're about there's legal instruction and slowly growing our awareness and their awareness of us. And with our access to justice work, you can see that they're at the table, right? Everybody's a lawyer, especially when they have to represent themselves. They need legal education, not at the level of the case course or the lesson program. And then there's an increasing number of states that are starting to say, well, maybe people are fully able to still practice law at a narrow limit. I mean, Washington, they closed their IT program. So there's room for what we do in states like that. I'm surprised I haven't heard from any of the tech noise, the nerds, because notice I say, what can law schools do together with tech? What can we build software-wise that's either not available or that's too expensive, or what can we do for ourselves?
I was just gonna say, when I come to Cali for 50 years, I like to our technology. In case I have to ask them about. PR, and sometimes we chat, I'm sure you discussion with them, you know.
Still alive, still here.
Like I said, community is so valuable and so hard to keep going. But I think you just gotta, you just gotta keep it going. Yeah. That. I saw I ended up there, then I saw one over there.
This is very different, as someone from a big state with lots of law schools.
How big is it?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
I was wondering if college can have a role in helping schools collaborate and scale on experiential projects that combine justice issues and big data. Say, for instance, say like the Innocence Project that Santa Clara wants versus the Vail Project at UCLA. To do a study on, Vail, statewide, and be able to present that to stakeholders at the state, not just looking at what happens in LA, what happens in Berkeley, but what happens statewide.
Sure. We might be a good fit for certain types of interstitial data collection problems that because of our ability to reach out to courts legally, and our ability to reach out to law schools, and because we get all right.
If you, yeah, let's move on. So what does legal education need today?
What's wrong? Let me pejoratively say, what's wrong with legal? Costs too much. The price of education is too damn high. No argument here. My only quick response, because there's not much you can do about it ourselves, is free paper. But that's, I know, a very small to that. Access to legal education by people who might represent the types of clients that aren't getting representation. Yep. So pipeline programs, again, money. Yes.
Building on like I said, I think some of our faculty are more interested in getting into things like formative assessment, but don't have the time to develop it. And while Cali lessons are great, they don't always take the time to go and look at them. If it was something that I could help have an LTI for Cali lessons, so that I could say like, hey, we can help load all the ones in the work classroom, you can have it displayed in your course.
It's an API.
Yeah, back in system integration for not an issue, but I hear it. It's a thing.
What does legal education need today? Less regulation, more innovation, more diversity among law schools. The law schools are not looking at all this stuff.
Cool. What should they do? What should they be cooperating for? Because they're all in the same, they all have the same kind of. Both, right? So adding it. I thought of being a quick. Yes, team, great idea. Audience. Yeah, in fact, I'll see it first.
so stressed. There's something about the way legal education is done, that we wind up with students who are just at their wits' end at the end of the year, and then we have a whole profession that is, the legal profession is rife with, issues with alcoholism and with drugs and with, mental health. Maybe, as people are just as idea of empathy, maybe we need to sort of think about the effect law school is having on, think like a lawyer doesn't mean like we have to destroy our minds.
No disagreement at all. Law is too stressful and justice. And I don't know if it's a problem, I don't know how to act the beast. It seems like, the way it's always been done, here's a dime, don't call your mother, or they're not gonna be a boy. Don't do that.
I get it.
That was one of the favorite things.
And had a professor who, well, updated in 25 cents, actually said it in a first year class.
I'll see you.
And
Sorry for calling you a
more practical experience and things like that there should be a way that legal clinics are more next to the version the legal clinics that the person now do a lot on.
This is why I love this concept. I 100% agree. I think we can build simulations like young people more heard of them, but the interactive video discs from the 80s that were awesome. And just walking around talking to people, I ran into the name flew out of my head. But sorry, Gerardo, who's at Santa Clara. Well, that's right. You got so much going on. Where they're doing simulated client assessments in a big way. I'm like, I didn't know that was happening. Definitely a lot more possible there. Scalable. I'd love to have not just 3 simulations, but 300. So that people can, narrow down on specific skills. I'd like there to be more understanding of what it means to have client interaction skills, more than the books that I'm just starting to read on. That goes beyond just the initial client interview or the definition of the issue. Everyone. All right. Right.
Good. Let's move it along. I know we don't have a lot of time. What is legal education for the justice system? No, sorry, I'm reading the wrong screen. What do you want? This is where I wanted to get personal.
You all have chosen to work at law school for a long or a short time. What do you want to do? What do you want to know? You should all be paid for. You should all be paid for. I'll see what I can do. That's the problem. Go ahead. Oh. Good enjoying this side of it. Well, I wasn't paying attention. What do you want? Then why did you stick around for so long?
Snacks. No, honestly, because I felt I was doing something that contributed positively to society. I've always said, I help the bottom 90% of law students. That's, and I don't mean it to be as sarcastic as it is. But the top 10%, you could send them off to anywhere for a year. They can come in and take the exam, having read the book. But the bottom 90%, they need a second pass through the material, a third pass through the material. They need the reassurance, like our, not to plug, but because I believe in it, our H5P questions give the student the reassurance that they pulled from the case what they were supposed to pull from the case. And then in turn, all those students go out and they actually find a job that they can sustain and pay off their debt and help society. The A to J work that Jessica does and Tobias and someone else is on that, just the two of them.
Just the two of them.
The two of them together are, what did you say, the entire state of Kentucky builds their entire domestic violence system on A to J. And how much did they pay for that, Jessica? Zero. So that is helping, that's helping so many people.
Right, they didn't pay us.
Right, it's helping so many people, so the ability to contribute, if we had suddenly switched to something that was very insular and didn't contribute, I probably would have gone off somewhere else.
Now we just look for profit. That's
Right.
Yeah. You can be for profit and still do good.
That's right.
And run, no, okay, bad example.
When I deal with students coming in, they don't give me their ear in the headlight, start talking about.
High school is a great guy too. That's right. Start them on law earlier. Doesn't seem like we're spending, we need law, I think we need a lot, especially right now. All right. Homer, why did you stuck around for so long?
Dad would send me snacks. Stuck around so long for pretty much exactly the same reason Deb stuck around so long, right? I mean, I feel like, I feel like the work that we do makes better lawyers and we need better lawyers. And yeah, that's exactly why I stuck around. Well, thank you.
All right. I think that I had one more. Nope. Yes, what is legal ed? What are the law faculties or the justice system? What are they missing? I guess there's some similarities to the other one, but who's falling through the cracks? Like everybody. Every year LSC comes out and says, oh, it's not 70%, it's 80%, no, it's 90%. In certain cases are self-represented. I mean, when I started, it was cool. Back in 2000, I had been working for Cali for 7 years. And my board of directors, a bunch of law faculty, said, 7 years, it's bad.
Yeah, you know me, Deb, so.
What?
I don't think they were serious, but I said, well, how about this? I'm gonna go find a cool project. I won't completely disappear, and I did, I sent you 2012. The project was to go study, was to actually go sit in courtrooms. We traveled around and sat in courtrooms and we watched self-represented litigants, sort of bumble and stumble around, trying to find where to do things and talk to judges about law that they didn't understand. And sometimes there was a lawyer on the other side who didn't, it was hard for everybody. And sometimes with SRLs, it was unintended divorce or sometimes it was domestic violence situation. And it was weird because these were not like Chicago or Los Angeles. I was in Dover, Delaware, in a suburb of Denver. And so it was weird that who are these people sitting in the back? SRL, they were concerned that we were like spying on them. The judge had to reassure them that, well, first of all courts are open. And then these people don't care about you at all. They're just here to observe the process. But it was like eye-opening. And the more we studied the problem, I was, we realized how bad it was in 2000. And we thought maybe with our work, with other people's work from that, that it wasn't, you know, it wasn't on the nose dive, that it feels like it's been on you. And now, I think there's more effort, more need than ever. Okay?
So when you said, you sort of check the LSC numbers, which is that those numbers are, the numbers that people aren't getting what they need, 50% don't get earned.
Yeah.
And then you have on one side of the mouth, you have something like LSC saying, well, that's why we need to do stuff, like a day off or something. But it turns out that if you do your job so well, everyone used to take a day off or to do their thing. And they're down to the people who aren't getting service. And also it means that that's also aside from the TIC program, they don't get money for helping those people. So I guess the point is like recognizing the access to those returners. And I don't know, trying to get members to realize that the stuff we do with technology is real service and access to justice, not just like on the website. I don't know. For those of you who don't know, like the funding, you know, I see a lot of stuff. It goes to people you end up, clients who help. That's what how you get money. But if you send that to your website and your website helps them, they're not counted the same.
You get no credit for that.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, granted, for the past, they appear that you get. And we've been told that we're infrastructure, but it's not funding. We're infrastructure, you know, go find money someplace else. If you want to continue to do that without, that's great.
So I don't know if that was I think I want is a recognition that that technology is real service. And then from the, what's missing that, helping people in other ways will help people. If you say you want to help people, and there's money to help people, then recognize that this is one of them.
Yeah, I'd like to see some bigger think planning. You know, the system, the justice system, and sort of run like a justice lemonade stick. You know, oh, we're out of lemonade today. Oh, it's raining and we didn't put a cover over one of these things, so now it's not where people are.
To build on that, Jessica, you mentioned in your presentation that these numbers and funding kind of assumes that people know they have a legal problem, or that the solution to their problem is legal based. So maybe even move it further out in saying, there may be other ways to educate and kind of, get them to resources.
Yep. It's a bigger problem than even, we've only peeled the onion a few layers. There's more layers to peel on this problem. All right. So these are the four things. Don't think of this as the only opportunity to provide us with feedback. In case nobody was talking about anything, I also had sort of a provocative list of, well, what about AI? What about AI? Is AI going to solve all our problems or solve some of our problems? Create more problems? Yes. Did you want to comment?
Well, it's sort of related, but what we're missing, are we being recorded?
Yeah.
Do you not identify me by name? We need to break up the monopoly of legal publishing.
Sorry?
We need to break up the monopoly of legal publishing. Because people cannot afford to access the tools that would help them be better able to address problems. And the same thing is going to happen with AI.
You think AI is going to, yeah.
Why the AI is going to get cheaper? I'm not worried about AI costs, but legal publishing, you have to get the courts and the states that can put stuff up in some usable data format.
Yeah.
And they don't because
Once we 30 years, we're trying to do that. 30 years.
Yes, I'm aware, that's why I'm
Yeah.
But it's like the work of go back, and then now they moved it back to the world line system, being the official publisher organizations, became the state, and they held back on every other state. So it's still a problem. It's
And it will be. They can't get official opinions of federal knowledge, but it's in the Supreme Court.
The AI, so that the technology of AI make it cheaper, the products that they build that will only get more
That's a data issue, though, not AI.
expensive.
If we-
Well, the use of the AI,
Well, the AI business, let's say,
Right.
not the AI tech. Yeah.
right?
All right, the next gen bar, at this point, I see that as an opportunity, because, they're explicit about it, right? They're changing the bar, because they want a back channel effect on legal education, to stop teaching vertical stacks of subject areas, and rather teach across a horizontal practice model. I would see that, but I hope that got across. And I see that as an opportunity for Cali, that we're exploring right now, which is, the production of simulation. Or the production of next gen lessons. So that's the way I'm thinking, but it's gonna be a very interesting couple of years as we make transition to that, right? Should Cali have an app? I don't want to cover that.
John, people are having trouble hearing you.
All right,
Your nets.
I'm sorry.
What is it?
Sorry. Better swag. Yeah.
So, what is the microphone?
And-
Not the desk.
Oh, I should just use that. And this is actually, I think this is my last slide. Let me double check myself. Yeah, it is. So this is, because this is my last slide, the last item on that is. The tech is too hard to use. Is there a button?
Oh, yeah, I see how it works.
Oh, there it is. You gotta hold it down for a second. You gotta hold it down for a second and a half. There we go. So the last one is the future of CaliCon. This had 34 Cali conferences. It's getting hard to get people to show up because travel budgets stink. There's lots of other things that you could be going to instead, so there's lots of competition. The majority, probably half of you are, at least half of the attendees are the registrants are law librarians. So we're probably eating into ALL budget a little bit. I don't know. Are there any feedback you have about this or future Cali conferences? Thought this would be a good, safe place to end because you're all waiting for the raffle. Ethan.
So I was talking to someone the other day, I'll let them identify themselves if they want. And they were curious, they were opining time passed when Cali was bigger. And how they felt that there was like a informal mentoring that went on and networking and all this hallway conversation. And I had pointed out this was only my second Cali. And that having come last year, I loved it for exactly that reason. So I just want to have people keep in mind that even if you have a vision of things from 20 years ago, that was great. I really thought last year and this year was great. And so I don't know. I get nervous when you're saying that. I'm like, don't change it. Keep it. So like,
Don't make it too big, is what you're saying.
well, yeah, don't make it, yeah, keep it nice.
Yeah.
I might only change it that way. My point was just like I really value that part, and to the extent that maybe the fact that some people's perspective have seen it over in different forms, I think that's still there. I think it was for me. So I really appreciated that. I appreciate all the people, and this literally was like the one thing I put on my travel budget to come here. So so more of that.
All right, keep it going. I had an attendee when I did a session with some of this a couple of years back say, she captured it. Forget her name, but it was on her board too. She said, I just love the vibe. Kelly, the conference has got a vibe about it that's welcoming. There's lots of room for talking. That's why we have the half-hour breaks. There's barely enough food, though. We need to increase. I know we need to improve on that. Any other feedback on this and future conferences?
Here we go. I mean,
You?
so. I have no problem filling the agenda, right? So, and that's like been a thing. So what we really need is figure out how to get, there are like about 100 people here to the table. So if there were like 200, that'd be fine. Like when we were here 20 years ago, we used 6 classrooms and we had 3 full days. We had about 400 people, I think, the upper 3s probably.
Yeah.
And that was a lot, right? But
Yeah.
again, we didn't have any trouble finding some people who wanted to come and talk. So we can always find people to come and talk, and the session, I think this should have been pretty good. And, you know, and people have interesting things to talk about. It's, you know, it's really about how can we get more, and, you know,
A few
been
more.
pretty successful. Yeah, more people in the room, that's, I know it's really hard, I know travel budgets and all that, it's just kind of a thing, but we need more people like David, only put us down in the travel budget, this is the thing that I want to do. Right?
Well, I hope you notice we kept the price is pretty low, was what, you know. At the time that other people are saying that they've got to raise the price. And we're aware of the vibe and trying to preserve that for this.
Frank, or I mean, Jenny.
I'll point over there. Okay.
So one of the things I was thinking about earlier is we're talking about how to be adjusting curriculum for our neurodiverse students and mental health and things like that. Is that we really need to better working with the student, the academic success department. They especially can help us with how to reach out to the neurodiverse students and how to adjust curriculum, formative assessment, things like that. And I know you're doing that with the summer program, but I don't know if we're doing it with the conference continuation of the conversation. So, and that would also be a way to get more people in the building.
Sure.
I support that as a but also, I don't know if he's still in the room, the president-elect of the Association of Academic Support Educators is here as a good connection. Yeah.
You're right. Am I right? You're right. Up there?
I think in order to get more people to attend, maybe perhaps adjust the way this is marketed and prepared. The brochure didn't have a lot of details, and for someone who's never been there, they don't know why you would want to attend.
Yeah. If you don't already know what's going to happen, then you got to communicate that, right?
More details on campus.
Oh. Okay.
Get it. I'm here. Faculty, and you know that.
Sure. Good.
I know it might be a challenge logistically, but in the past, I really appreciated when there were opportunities for people to post short proposals of what they wanted to talk about. And sometimes that became an opportunity to network and put together panels based on a topic. I personally had no capacity at the time of the proposal session for you to do anything this year, especially maybe next year, hopefully. But that's sort of like putting the proposal in and then voting for it made it a more collaborative program in some ways and built a lot more buy-in of, oh, I'm really looking forward to. I saw these people want to talk about that. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So even if it's not something as formal as it was in the past, having something that is some sort of a discussion board or something, putting ideas out, brainstorming in advance gets people, I think, invested in more ways of what the value is of the conference, especially like you were saying, just to be able to review what people are thinking about.
Yeah, it was a panel light conference in some ways. There was a few of them, right? Yeah. Did you get that?
Is technology still a thing?
Yeah.
Okay, because I came to my first Cali conference 25 years ago and learned about it from a colleague. But and the colleague turned me on to Technoid. And
That's true.
I subscribed to it for years until I guess I lost my credentials too, or changed email address, whatever, something happened. But at some point, I kind of fell out of the community. But it was that sense of the community while it was there that kept me coming back. And after a point when I actually got staff working for me, and I would send them to Cal, I stopped going because we didn't have a budget for 2 people to go there. But after a point where I lost that connection to Technoids, I didn't pass it on to people that came to work for me. So that, I think that community, building it back up, will build up, creates more energy.
And so the mailing list is still around, and there's with the, Tom Ryan set us up with, Rutgers. Cause I had been running it.
Thank you, Tom Ryan.
There was a glitch where he just died, his long technical glitch. But, Tom brought it back, and there's currently about 100 subscribers, and what you're describing is exactly what happened, right?
Yeah.
The bosses were subscribed, and they weren't getting their staff subscribed. The community just sort of faded away. But the list is still there, and I'm all for,
Time to re-energize.
Yeah. you can re-energize.
Technoids, not dead yet and coming back. Good.
Yeah, it's a great vibe. Like, full circle. This is my favorite conference. I'm going to Chicago this year, but I know I'm coming to Seattle. Because you will understand my approach. Like, and the mission is that of open source and open access and access to justice. And all of the good things that fall by the wayside and librarians pick up for whatever reason it falls to us. And so reaching out to the other people like access support, both the DEI spaces and the critical literacy spaces, and those people who are extremely interested in this that we're doing, who don't necessarily know a whole lot about tech. But I think that, yeah, there's some pieces that are accessible with the conference and improving that aspect and then doing some outreach with the and these other communities that we are all in, have different areas of expertise. And we can come together and really transform the mission statement to be more robust and make it a true mission to embed this in the curriculum. Whether that can happen for me and my institution, it's really not up to me, but I am open to it.
You're here.
You're here. Good. Don't let this be the last word on it. If you've got ideas, suggestions, comments, complaints, email me or go look at Cali.org/staff and email somebody else. So I think we're done. The conference is over, but not quite because we've got a raffle to do. Wait. We lost somebody lost some keys. If you lost your keys, go see Ranella.
Go to Washington.
Stop at the brownies.
Yeah.
Always. He's a law school person who came down from us.
Sunglasses, did those get?
We found them. Scott, what's your password?
I think it's the same as mine, John 2024.
Cali is cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's a PIN number. Right? It's just to get into Windows. Sorry, not the Windows, but Scott, where'd you go?
Let's all yell.
What do you think Scott would use for a PIN number?
1111.
2, 3, 4. I don't want to lock it up.
Yeah.
So now it's got out there.
We're gonna wait for Scott to come back because the software application we got here is the thing that does the raffle aspect of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, some people, while we wait for Scott, some people, you hear this rhythm going? Yeah, you hear it? All right, do your rhythm. It slows down a little bit. All right, now I need some people who are near a railing. I need people to move to a railing, Ryan. Take all three of yourselves. And I need you to hit in between it. Go on. Just one. Keep it going. We're almost at a mambo. We're heading to a mambo. We'll get there. It's gonna hurt, but we're gonna get there. I need some more people on this railing, really. All right, got the back on the railing. Boom. 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 Got it? All right, now I need all of you guys, all of you. All right. Well done, everyone. Yeah.